So I'm excited to have B.J. Rogers here with us today. You all probably heard from now either through our emails or just from other individuals that we have a Will Graham celebration coming to the state of Iowa. We just want to have an opportunity for you all to meet B.J. Rogers, who is the Iowa Celebration Director, and also just learn a little bit more about Will Graham, the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. Always have a hard time with that one, B.J. And just to really kind of know what is God bringing here to the state of Iowa. And this really is a blessing for our state, so we're so thankful that you guys are here. BJ, before we get started, I would just love for you just to share a little bit about yourself, the pastors and churches here in the state of Iowa.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for having this opportunity. This is really a wonderful time to be with you today, Greg, and to share about the celebration, but also about the work that we're doing throughout the entire state. Billy Graham Association comes by invitation, and we have been invited to come here by individuals who decided this was a time of a revival and a time of a renewal in the life of the church, as well as sharing the gospel. And so we received that invitation a while back and came into town several months back and have been working together to work with as many churches as possible and pastors. And I love that myself because I'm a pastor. I was a pastor for 20 years in the state of Texas, and that's where I was when a celebration actually came through town there years ago, and became aware that there's so much more to what the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association does. As opposed to just an event, this is an entire process of churches coming together, working together, putting together an entire community of working together for the body of Christ and for the sharing of the good news. And so we've been here for several months doing that work already, and looking forward to working with as many pastors and churches of like mind that want to fulfill the Great Commission. Not to say that's not been done so far. We're just here to partner alongside and to increase that work and to see a great harvest of souls as we look forward to the future.
I'm so encouraged. You and your wife actually moved here.
Yeah, in a manner of speaking, we did,
You're Texans.
Yep.
You moved here to Iowa. What's that been like?
It's been great. It's been great. We've had an opportunity to meet with people and to visit churches. That's one of our greatest excitements when we come into a new community, is being able to go on Sunday morning, and sometimes even more than one place, and worship with other believers, all the different styles that are out there, and to learn about the church that's already on the ground here. And so that's been exciting, working with the celebration leadership team made up of local people, local business leaders, church leaders as well. And it's just always fun to get to know people and to be a part of what's going on in the community, and to really live in it, be a part of it as well. So that's why we don't just want to come, flying in and out. We'd like to be here and work and serve and be a part of what's all happening.
We always love to have new Iowans. And we know you're already going to be participating in our state fair, which makes you right a member.
Absolutely.
Now, BJ, share a little bit about the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. We have some folks that probably have heard of BGEA before, or maybe just aren't quite.
Well, the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association started now 70 years ago by Dr. Billy Graham and his team. And many people know the work that was done for all these decades with putting together what at that time were known as crusades, evangelistic crusades all around the world. Millions and millions of people coming into those celebrations, hearing the good news of Jesus Christ, and then going out and being discipled by their local congregations. So the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association continues to this day. Dr. Graham passed to life eternal here now 3 years ago, but that work continues through Billy's son, Franklin Graham, who's president and CEO, and now as well through Will Graham, who is William Franklin Graham IV. And he has his own evangelistic ministry within the context of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. And so we continue the work. Really hasn't changed much. I mean, the things that we do, the music we use, things like that, technology's changed, but we still do the very same work that Dr. Graham and his team did so many years ago, with working to make sure it's more about disciples than it is about just people making decisions for Christ. And so we come into community, work with the churches, do training, make sure that people are familiar with Will. That's why we had him in town just this last week to share at a church rally, so people get to know him and to hear him and to realize that it's all about the gospel. And we're going to preach the gospel. Will's going to do that in October at the Wells Fargo Arena, October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. But before that, lots of training. After that, lots of follow-up.
Now, you guys have chosen to call this event the Iowa Celebration.
Absolutely.
It's being hosted here in Des Moines, but we're not calling it the Des Moines Celebration, though, right? So talk about why do we want to call this the Iowa Celebration? What does this mean for the state of Iowa as a whole?
Well, and that's really on purpose. We did not want to call it the Des Moines Celebration because we didn't want to be exclusive of the churches and the church that is literally all across this state. So we've reached out and want to continue reaching out, Cedar Rapids and Council Bluffs and all over the place, making sure that people are aware that this is for everyone. It's something that the church can be involved in. And so we want to make sure that all of our training events, as much as possible, can be out there, not only in Des Moines, but all across the state. Because the church isn't just in Des Moines, it's all across the state. And so we want to make sure that everything that we do reaches out as far as we can. There may even be people that come from northern Missouri and southern Minnesota, and that's okay too. We're not exclusive in that way. So our targeting, of course, has to be a little bit for Des Moines with the fact that that's where the celebration will actually occur. But at the end of the day, we're going to see churches all across the state and even beyond being a part of this. And with our online presence with the celebration, that could even stretch across the globe.
Excited, and we're a statewide ministry, so we're just always excited to be able to partner with any statewide event. So this is very encouraging that you're taking this well beyond the state's capital city, but our goal is to bring this to the whole state. You're talking a little bit about some seminars, some events leading up to the actual celebration. Can you share a little bit about those and just how they're not only happening here, but all around the state of Iowa?
Absolutely. We've already had what we call our evangelism and follow-up seminars. That's the first seminar for pastors to get themselves and their teams to start thinking about discipleship and not just the event itself, but the actual follow-up. It's not too late. Pastors can still be involved with those by going to iowacelebration.com, which is our website. There's actually a link there that they can actually watch the video of the seminar and download the manual and be a part of that because, again, we don't want just to focus on the event itself. That's a huge part of what we do, but it's also what's going to happen afterwards. And so we want to make sure that pastors and churches are aware of that and start planning now for new believers in the lives of their congregation and also for discipleship ministries into the future. So we've already provided those, but again, it's not too late. Pastors can still be involved. Then we're going to be doing what we call the Christian Life and Witness course. The Christian Life and Witness course is a 3-week training. It's free, it's open to everyone, and we would really like for every church to be involved with this. We're going to have these locations all across Des Moines, all across central Iowa. We'll have some locations out in the Cedar Rapids area. We're going to try to also go out west. We're going to have classes. You go once a week for 3 weeks.
Okay.
I want to say that real carefully because sometimes people say, well, do I have to go all where do I do? It's once a week. Pick a location. You can mix and match if you want, but it's once a week for 3 weeks. We do some very basic training. This was training that was started by Dawson Trotman and others with the Navigators years ago. He came alongside Billy Graham when Billy really was concerned about making sure that it wasn't just about decisions made at his events, but disciples. And so, am I living an effective Christian life? We start looking at our own lives first. How do I share my faith relationally with my neighbors, coworkers, and friends? And then how do I make disciples? How do I follow up with individuals, whether I know them or not, within the congregation of which I'm a part, sharing how they grow in their faith. So it's very simple, it's very basic, it's free, and we're going to have those locations all over the place. Again, on iowacelebration.com. I can say this without any reservation. It's some of the best training for churches because it's so basic, it's so simple. It reminds us of the real important factors of making disciples for Jesus Christ. And it's really important that we want as many churches as possible to be involved.
I tell you, BJ, it's been most encouraging to me. I originally thought you guys are coming in to put on one large event. Right. But there's really been so many resources we've already seen and then even moving forward that are really going to equip the church. And something we're really going to commit to is making sure we make you aware of all those resources. Every week we're going to be highlighting different events going on with the Greater Iowa Celebration. But BJ, I would love for you just to share a bit, what is going to be the celebration? What is the actual October event?
Sure. It's 3 days, October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We're going to be at Wells Fargo Arena. It's a free, family-friendly event. Everyone is invited. We're going to have some great Christian artists, some bands. Don't know who they are yet, but they're going to be names that you're going to hear on the radio on a regular basis, people that you will want to come, and to also bring your neighbors and friends to come here as well. Will be there, of course, to proclaim the gospel, preach the gospel. We'll have people working as volunteers to make sure that people get connected back to local churches as soon as they can. We're also going to have a kids fest on Saturday morning, which is it's really a fun time. We have all the bouncy houses and all the things that kids love to have, but it's an amazing thing. When the kids come, their parents come and their grandparents come as well. It's a great special message that Will gives that morning, sharing the good news of Jesus Christ. We've seen whole families give their lives to Christ at these events. And it's a fun time, but it's also a powerful time because it impacts generation after generation of believers as we have those events. And it's just really exciting to see. So 3 days, but it's a lot packed into those 3 days. Lots of music, lots of fun, family friendly, open to everyone, free.
Sounds like a great 3 days, and we all know October is going to come quick.
Very quick.
The year always flies by, and before you know it, your time in Iowa is going to be done. What is your hope following this event? What is success that these months bring moving forward for the state of Iowa?
The biggest thing in my mind always and in my heart is that after this event is done, because the Billy Graham Association will be moving on, we will be called and invited someplace else. We're not starting a church here. Is that the Church of Jesus Christ is stronger and more united in doing the work of evangelism and discipleship for years to come. Dr. Graham was always very, very clear. He was always concerned with what people would think about the success of the event. He would always say, it's not how many people attend, it's not how many decisions are made, it's what happens in the lives of those people and in the church for the next 3, 5, 10 years. So after this event is over and the last loud chord rings through Wells Fargo Arena and we go our separate ways, the next thing is the most important thing, making of disciples. And having that be a long-time legacy of evangelism and discipleship for years to come throughout Iowa, that would make this entire 9 to 12 months a huge success. So we move the finish line beyond those 3 dates and look forward to what the Lord's going to do in bringing about a harvest of ongoing proportions throughout the years.
Well, BJ, thank you for coming in. And I thank the entire Billy Graham Evangelistic Association just for your investment in the church in Iowa, just to encourage and equip us even further. And pastors, I just want to thank you and the church for all that you do for the state of Iowa and all that the church has done for Iowa to this point. The local church always has been and always will be the hope for the world. And thank you for everything you guys do. And we'll be sure to keep you posted as these events just continue to develop.